What's going on, calculator?
Greetings and salutations, Mr. 411. It is another Waiver Wire show. Of course, we're going to have news notes and what a crazy Monday night we got to get into, and a couple we had questions from a long time listener that we're going to get to, and of course, we always like to end it with a little mini draft to help out our daily players in stuff they might want to look at. So, but hey, I'm looking to get forward to this jam-packed episode.
Oh, absolutely, man. And what an episode is going to be. I had to put one of the famous hip hop artists of all time, Chubb Rock. He is on the graphic, and so we'll get more into Chubb Rock later, and because I think it's going to really affect a lot of. I mean, Chubb Rock has a major effect in the fantasy football world, on for this upcoming for the rest of the season actually. So, but we'll get into that in just a minute.
Absolutely.
Today is September the 19th. The year is 2023, and yes, this is the 411 Sports World Fantasy Football Show. So let's get to it, calculator.
Let's get to it, Mr. 411.
All right, here we go.
And we are back, Mr. 411. Love the intro music. Get the blood pumping.
Absolutely. And guess what everybody should do?
Subscribe, like, notify, folks, and we appreciate when you do that, because when you subscribe, you're allowed to post comments, you're allowed to give questions. Even if you don't follow the live stream, you can always go in the comments and post a question. We'll get to them. We'll put them on the show, and we'll give you an answer during the show. So you can always click back, at your convenience, if you miss the live stream.
Yeah, you have to do it because you just never know what's going on. In the sports world, stuff changes all the time, and you have to be ready because you just never know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen from minute to minute. Let alone day to day, week to week. And so, with that said, you got to just do those things that we ask you. Oh, oh, whoa, what is that, calculator?
411, you ordering pizza in the middle of the show again?
Man, I'm telling you. I'm a little hungry. I'm a little famished. You know what I mean? So,
Uh,
we'll see what's going on.
Don't keep the
Um,
keep the pizza man waiting. He's waiting to get paid.
yeah, I need to get over there and see what's going on. I wonder who's at the door. What up?
The show in the house. See,
All
Mr.
right.
401, I thought the show was going to try and duck today. He knows who's going to be coming up in a matchup of two and 0 teams coming up. But I'm glad
Oh man,
he wanted to show up.
I'm glad the show decided to show up.
My two and zero,
Absolutely.
my 2-0 Atlanta Falcons, feeling good.
Uh
2 and 0
oh.
Saints,
Feeling
feeling good.
good.
The 1-1 Seahawks. But
Hey,
anyway,
the Seahawks. And the thing is, they lose the game you think they're going to win, but they win the game you think they're going to lose. It's the craziest thing.
it's Seahawk.
Gino.
It's Seahawk fashion.
That's right. It looks like the pumpkin. The clock did not strike midnight. So they were back to form, and Gino was doing Gino things again.
Yeah, well, it did strike midnight on a lot of players this weekend. So with
Oh
that,
my.
let's jump into the news and notes calculator.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, the news and notes is almost we could say it's an injury report, because that's usually is what the news that comes through. And I'll just start off the biggest, the worst. Another week, another top. And not only now, this is the most significant injury, because it's season ending. It's mostly a first round pick, Nick Chubb. Uh, you know, he confirmed today he will have season-ending knee surgery. And for those people that followed Nick Chubb, and I know Brooks did, same type of injury that he got when he was with Tennessee. And it's one of those things. I still remember where I was when he had this injury in Tennessee. I was in Orlando. I was watching the game, and a lot of people said, "Man, can he ever come back from that?" And Heck, not only did he come back from it, he came back stronger, better, and had quite a good young NFL career. So, wish the best to Nick Chubb. Unfortunately, we got to take fantasy aside and wish, best wishes and prayers to Nick Chubb for his recovery. So it's a gruesome injury. But if there's if there's a person out there that can get through it, it is him. He knows what it entails. And I wish nothing but the best for Nick Chubb. But yes, that led off our news, and of course that will affect our waiver wire. But that'll be later on at this
And
episode.
calculator, give everybody the disclaimer before we show the
Oh,
injury.
yeah, we have to show the injury for people that if they but
No.
we want to caution. It's gruesome. So if you have a weak stomach, you don't want to see it, turn away for a brief moment. But yes, Mr. 411 is about to show the injury. I'm sorry, the producers, if they
Right, the
got it.
producers
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Yeah, I also saw a similar injury on Monday Night Football before. If people back in the day remember Napoleon Kaufman, that's
Oh
the
my
same
goodness,
type of
yeah.
injury. And if people remember that ruined that was a career ender. But modern medicine has made tremendous strides at this time. But yeah, hey, Nick, we wish you best, my friend. So
Absolutely. And by that image, absolutely no one needs to try to outsmart themselves and pick up Nick Chubb at all. Don't try to outsmart yourself. Just
yeah.
that this is it. I mean, like you said, calculator. This is about his, the non fantasy perspective right now. We just want Nick Chubb to recover and get back to health.
Absolutely. And on that same note, injury note, people remember Joe Burrow said after Sunday's loss to the Ravens that he aggravated the calf injury that's been affected him all day. Burrow would have re-entered the game had they had gotten another possession, but after the game, pretty sore. But hey, we'll have to monitor his status. It is day to day. He could possibly sit out a game, try and get some rest. But hey, this could. We were talking about this earlier on. This could stay with him multiple weeks in there. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson, who was on pace for a 50-point fantasy day, as Mr. 411 knows,
Yes.
sustained a concussion after his second touchdown run of 15 yards. That's his second documented concussion. With the first documented concussion came back in 2021. People, a lot of times when you get that second one, they take a little more precaution. And also, the Colts have a backup that is serviceable in Gardner Minshew. He knows what he's doing. So they might want to take a week or so and let their top 5 quarterback rest up. So I don't think Richardson's going to play this week. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to take a little bit longer because they can. And also they're, it's a different type of game plan. But Richardson can also still learn by not playing and just
Yeah,
watching
absolutely.
with Gardner Minshew. Giants running back Saquon Barkley got rolled on in the late in the fourth quarter of Sunday's game versus the Cardinals. He was helped off the field, no weight on the leg, got it taped up, but he had a limp even after it got taped up. This is yesterday. It came out saying he was going to miss 3 games. Today, the coach is coming out saying they hadn't updated. Folks, I think there's 99% chance he's not playing this game because it's a short week. They're going against the 49ers. So it's one of those things that, hey, I don't think they're going to risk Bartley. They're going to sit him, but again, they said it was 3 weeks, but now I think the coach is trying to play mind games with them. So, but again, another effect of the waiver wire, which we'll get into. Lions running back David Montgomery suffered a right thigh injury in the second half of the game of the Seahawks. Unfortunately, I do not have YouTube TV. I was watching the game tracker, and all of a sudden I see that Reynolds guy there. Where in the world is David Montgomery? That's what happened. He got hurt. Head coach Dan Campbell said afterwards that it was just merely a thigh bruise. I'm thinking even if he's out, maybe a game at the most. But we'll get, as the week goes on, see practice reports, we'll get a better idea. Devontae Adams took a shot to the head, fourth quarter against the Bills, went to the Blue Medical tent, checked for concussion. There was no confirm or denying a concussion. Again, follow the reports. If there's no documented concussion, he'll be good to go next week. Odell Beckham. Hey, ankle injury. Odell Beckham owners know that also well. Again, he could take a week, maybe two, or maybe it's just a tape job. And they had that game firmly in control against the Bengals, anyways, and didn't want to risk them. Darnell Mooney suffered a knee injury in the second half of Sunday's game. Again, got to follow his reports. That really doesn't affect the DJ Moores or the Justin Fields. This more affects Claypool's type deal, because Claypool showed that when Mooney was out, he was the one getting the secondary targets when people started to try and take DJ Moore out of it. Commanders tight end Logan Thomas sustained a concussion. If people saw that, the guy that gave him the concussion was the same guy that gave Jacoby Myers the concussion just last week. So Kareem Jackson, you might be getting that little envelope from the NFL talking about game checks and possibly a suspension for the Denver safety. But this is Logan Thomas's first concussion. That leaves Cole Turner and John Bates. With John Bates, mostly the pass catcher that could take up some targets if Logan Thomas was to miss any time. So that's our news and notes, Mr. 411. For now, one more late came in. Jamal Williams. He is kind of it was a hamstring injury. We know hamstring injuries can linger, especially for people that are running backs and wide receivers, the fast twitch muscle type guys. So he could be out. And I think Tony Jones Jr. Averaged almost 2.1 yards a carry. So not exciting. He was serviceable. But all those Jamal Williams owners that were hoping to get their touchdown or two in there, it is. And hey, yours truly, there was one league. The one league I had Nick Chubb in, I also had Jamal Williams in. I was down by 13 points going into Monday night, feeling really good, Mr. 411, until
I bet.
First quarter. Jamal Williams was out because that was the earlier game, and then when I saw Nick Chubb out, I said, well, I took the L, and now I'm working the waiver wire to see what I can do since I lost two starting running backs.
Absolutely. And we'll be talking about the waiver wire in a moment. But, of course, I'm going to jump on the studs and duds. Before we do that, want to give a shout out to Dalen out of Baltimore, and a big shout out to him. He had some comments here about Nick Chubb, wishing Nick Chubb, the best. And it makes sense what he's saying here, too. How the market is for the running backs in the NFL. And obviously, there's a reason why they want to lock up some money. I definitely was thinking this today as well. I think that, I know this will be a little extreme, but stoppage of play, they really need to get out there. The players association or players union, they need to really get something done here when it comes to running backs and pay and
I am
security.
going to push back a little on that, Mr. 411, and the pushback
Okay, why is
I'm
that?
doing on that is the collective bargaining agreement. The Players Association needs to work something in their collective bargaining agreement
Yeah.
to get that. So you can't really sign an agreement and then all of a sudden want to change the agreement when you're in the middle of agreement. But yes, I agree with you in that they need to try and protect these players, but they need to do this at the collective bargaining agreement when they get out there and do that.
Well, there may not be any running backs left by then.
I mean,
I don't know, Mr. 411. They're always they'll be getting those guys from the USFL, pretty soon. Or the people from the Canadian Football League. The people in the Canadian Football League get tired of paying those high taxes in Canada and start coming down and wanting to play in the NFL.
Well, there is a USFL and XFL merger allegedly about to happen. So we'll see what happens there. Would you have a case?
It just seems like they could weave something into the rules about, hey, if you got somebody tied up high, you can't hit them low. That seems like something that could be reasonably written into the rules. There's more complicated things in the rules related to like protecting the quarterback. I feel like that's something that could
Well,
be added.
and that's a good one, Brooks, because they don't do that with runners because they do have
Right.
that in the rule crackback blocks to protect offensive linemen, to protect defensive linemen. They got tired of all those guys getting hurt all the time, so they protect. But now it's like, okay, what are we going to do with running backs? They say,
Yeah.
oh, people that are runners, you don't get no protection.
Right.
But yeah,
Being treated like crash test dummies.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Oh, but Dalen has a couple things here we want to get quick answers to. Not sure, where he's going to be the rest of the day, so we want to give him some quick answers here. He says, "What up, fellas? Um, he won his week. Okay, congratulations on that. 12
Absolutely.
team PPR league. He has a question that will follow that. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Rich, Gino, Pollard, Cook, Herbert. You see the names: Mostart, Spears, Diggs. Okay, he has a good lineup there. All right, so let's go here with this. Feels like the wide receiver two is his biggest need. Chubb owner has Madison, Dillon, and Gus Edwards. His wide receivers are Mike, Debo. Would you try to move Mostart?
Yes, and the reason I say that this is a good time to trade Mostart for the mere fact that Jeff Wilson Jr. will be coming off the IR in a couple weeks. So this is probably the highest value Mustard will get. Also, A Chain will be getting more carries as the season go along. They're dynamic rookie. So yes, it's going to be hard to envision Mustard having a higher value than he has right now. So yes, I think if you could get Ayuk for Mustard, I would make that trade in a heartbeat.
There it is. All right, you had something wanted to say, Brooks, before we go to studs and duds?
No, I agree. Most of our still has some injury issues throughout his
Yeah.
career, so he's. It's a wonder if he'll stay healthy the whole season. I think Ayuk's in a unique situation because Deebo Samuel's not really he's like a do-it-all player. Put him in the backfield. It's not really a natural receiver like Ayuk. I think Ayuk is actually the better receiver. So it's a weird position where Deebo's like kind of a really good offensive weapon, but Ayuk's kind of the number one receiver, so it's a weird situation. But yeah, I definitely agree. I would trade.
Anytime the 49ers, if they were ever to get in a shootout, well, heck, look at what Ayuk did week 1. He showed that he can go out and get the ball. So yeah, if there's ever a type of that, if you could get Ayuk for Mustard, I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Okay, and then one more alternative here. If he doesn't go 1 for 1, would you package a guy like Hollywood or MT or
The,
Hopkins with
the
him?
the guy I would package that is Michael Thomas, the MT guy. For the mere fact is Michael Thomas, he is a safe floor. He's going to get you that floor, but he's not going to do a bust. And when we saw Dylan's roster, I would, if I had guys on my bench to start, I would start Hollywood over Michael Thomas. I would start Hopkins over Michael Thomas. So Michael Thomas is the last of those three. So if you can't get the done with Mustard and the guy wants somebody like Michael Thomas, and Brooks was talking about injury history. We all know Michael Thomas is injury history as well,
right,
folks. So another guy whose value could be high, but interesting fact. We saw all the activity Michael Thomas to get. You know how many targets Michael Thomas has had in the second half of both his games? Two targets, folks. It's been the Olave show in the second half of both games, and I know a lot of Olave owners know that. I've owned Olave in multiple leagues. That I was saying is all Michael Thomas in the first half, and then it's like Michael Thomas running all the short routes and getting them tired, and then it's Shaheed deep in the second half, in the fourth quarter a lot of times, and then Olave cleaning up the rest of it. So if he needs the package. Because Michael Thomas, you don't know what kind of target share he's going to have. You don't know if he's going to get that injury. He's not going to blow you away with any big pop weeks. Again, he's a safe floor guy. But again, I would love to have Ayuk if I have to. I would be more than willing to give up a Mustard and a Michael Thomas if he needs that boost. I'm surprised he wouldn't trade for Mustard straight up. But if he did, I can do Michael Thomas on that.
All right. Yes, and Daylon, we appreciate you. He says thank you. He's
Yes.
heading to the airport, but hey, you can catch us on YouTube. And if you get a chance, man, plug into the PA system there at the airport. and let this
Absolutely.
show play on there. Let us play it there at the airport where everybody's
Broadcast
waiting
it
on those.
wide. Yeah.
Yeah, they wait on those delays and all the flight delays and stuff. We'll entertain them.
Yeah.
All right, so what's that? Well, let's get some more entertainment then. If you want some more entertainment, go to TikTok, type in Mr. 411 or scan this QR code right here, and you'll be good to go. All right, studs and duds. Let's go ahead and start throwing out a couple of studs here. We're gonna go back to we will wind the clock a little bit. Go back to Thursday night. Cousins. I mean, wow. I mean, what do you do? I mean, Cousins, he give you these games, and then you just don't know. But you can't if you have him, you got to roll with him because he'll give you 4 touchdowns like this. Swift. Oh man, what a game by Swift. T.J. Hawkinson. I wish I had him on my team. Jalen Hurts says to find a way, no matter what. Whether he's going to be on the ground, some kind of way he's going to get
Yeah.
numbers for you. It just doesn't matter. And then Justin Jefferson, there's a reason why he's wide receiver
And
number
there's
one.
there's another guy you could put up there is Devontae Smith. Thursday night was a score
Yes.
fest for everybody but one player, and we'll just talk about that player later when we get to the
Oh yeah.
duds.
Yeah, we will. Man, Keenan Allen. There you go. That's Larry's guy. Keenan Allen again. Monster game. Nice game there. Daniel Jones, my namesake,
Oh man.
had in
And
that
the
comeback against
majority of
Arizona.
and the majority of those stats were in the second half when they were in catch-up mode. So when I was actually out and about performing some errands that my wife needed me to do, we
Yeah.
had to have a
That you
talk
had to
because
do.
I don't like to doing Sunday errands, but I had to. So by the time I got back, New York was in catch-up mode. But hey, any Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley owners were loving it, my friends.
Absolutely. Calculator, Mike Evans, and then Brian Robinson. And Brian
Oh man.
Robinson is probably one of those players that you're glad you have him on your fantasy team. You have to because he's performing. Uh, I need you to come up with a fancy way to say this gentleman's name, the wide receiver for the Rams. Calculator.
Oh, Puka Nakua. I mean, I I don't
Puka.
know. Who- I mean, all I know is if you can pronounce his name, you can. Hey, that is a Cooper Cup line if I ever saw one. 15 catches,
Yes,
and it isn't a fluke, folks. He did the same exact thing, except he was adding touchdowns in week one. So look at
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's an
Yeah,
interesting category of player. He's one of those players. He got injured a season, then it was the COVID season. So he's one of those players where the scouting just didn't really uh, get up to par on his on what his ability is. And there's just this group of players that just because of the pandemic and the like, we just didn't have a good scouting report on. So
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and people are seeing the benefits of what the Rams can do when Stafford is healthy. He don't mind chucking that ball left and right. Him and Sean McVay, they'll throw that ball. The thing is, what Puka Nakua is doing is he's taking all those stats that a lot of people were thinking would go to Higbee's way, and then those people that did the wait and late tight end strategy. A lot of people thought they were getting a great deal with Tyler Higbee, and then Puka Nakua come over and starting to say, "Hey, not so fast, Mr. Higbee." So people might have to go to the waiver wire, but we have some help for those people in the waiver wire section.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, man, Puka is definitely taking over. He's taking the NFL fantasy world by storm. And so, yeah, I mean, you did when you do that when you have those kind of numbers back to back weeks, when you set, when you're the first player ever to do something, you know what I mean? You're doing something huge there.
Yeah.
So those are my studs. And then there's other ones that you can weave in and out of there. Did you have anybody else in mind, Brooks or Calculator?
Shout out to my boy Bijan Robinson, man.
Okay,
100,
okay.
Bijan
124
Robinson,
rush
yeah.
yards, 124 rush yards. Some really nice receiving. Showed a lot of receiving skills too. Had 4 catches, 48 yards. They went to him in some big moments in the passing game. Lined him up. He had a nice slant route, and then nice wheel route wide open. His cuts, gave it to him on a toss on 4th and 1, basically game on the line, and
Oh yeah.
gives you a sense of his his elusiveness to toss it to him. You usually don't want to throw it back when you're a fourth and short, but threw it back to
Absolutely.
him, and he was just he's just amazing. And
And I just want to add this, Brooks. When I look at it, a lot of people get frustrated with Algier coming in, but when we're seeing all these running back injuries, I'm a Bijan owner in multiple leagues.
Yeah.
I got him. Mr. 411 was with me with the New York draft. Drafted him with my first pick, but
Yeah.
I really don't mind it when Algier comes in there because when I know Algier's carrying the ball, I know Bijan Robinson can't get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think Algier is a perfect complement to Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
And Algier still got 16 carries. So, I mean, for the Algier owners, I mean, and it wasn't, he didn't have the most productive days, but he got his touches. He still got the 16 carries, had a few goal line possessions that he could have potentially punched in. But yeah, I'm with you. I split the carries. You take the lane, even like splitting him wide and letting him do some things in the receiving game. That's better than the handoff in a lot of cases. So.
Okay. And here's a couple of
go
ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
Well, one more question to Brooks. Can you trust Drake London again now?
I thought Drake London was really good. He was really good in that game. I think the more Ritter plays, I think him and Ritter have a connection, more so than he has with Kyle Pitts, who I'd be worried about. But the more Ritter plays and gets comfortable, I mean, the more I think you're going to see that relationship flourish. And he got in the end zone too. So I'm a little. I think the stock is rising for Drake London. Because I do think him and Ritter have a connection. So,
but it's also going to depend on game plan because it almost looked like the coaching staff realized that, hey, you got a very talented wide receiver on your team. Try and get him involved in the game plan, because that's only going to help your running back. That's only going to help Bijan Robinson if you have these talented wide receivers and pass catchers, taking some coverage, getting those guys out of the box, and then when Bijan only has a 7 or even Algier has a seven person box, they're going to be able to run up and down the field. So I was glad to see that the actual coaching staff actually and made a concerted effort, even though Ritter got rushed a couple times early on in the second half. They stuck with trying to get Ritter into the game plan, throwing more and more. I was impressed with the coaching staff in letting Ritter toss the ball a little bit more to get their other playmakers into the game.
All right.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not fake love for Drake anymore right now. Drake London. All right, we love some Drake. All right, well, here's what we don't love: some of these duds this week.
Oh my goodness! The only Thursday night dud was probably one of the best players on the field for both teams, AJ Brown. And if people saw, it's funny. Philadelphia is just running the ball; they can't be stopped. And every time they were trying to pass the ball, Minnesota actually created a pass rush. So it's like they said, "Okay, well, you can't stop the run; we're going to keep running." And they're winning by double digits in the fourth quarter. And then you see AJ Brown just get upset on the sideline. So Jalen Hurts, what does he do? He throws it to him in the end zone, almost gets intercepted. He said, "Okay, we're going to keep running the ball." It's just funny. It's like even when they're winning, AJ Brown was wanting some of that ball. But yes, a clear dud. Calvin Ridley, all he needs to do is get 2 feet. He was thrown in the end zone twice, and both times caught the ball, but couldn't get both feet in bounds. George Kittle, I think he's more of a product of the game plan of how they're so efficient. They're scoring with Debo on runs, and Brock Purdy you don't need to toss the ball when you got the guys running it in for touchdowns left and right. Kyle Pitts, I think again, the game plan was to get Drake London involved, and Kyle Pitts. Little forecast kind of took the Brooks's mini draft down because Brooks was doing good everywhere else except the tight end situation. And Dameon Pierce, just product of they were behind. They were behind big, so they were just going to throw the ball. What the discouraging part is usually Dameon Pierce is in on throwing downs, but CJ Stroud, he was throwing to his wide receivers all day long. So that was just a product of script and a rookie receiver being more comfortable going to his wide receivers.
Yeah, man. And this Kittle and Pitts is reminding me of this. Kittle is reminding me of this calculator.
Yeah.
These
So,
Kittles and Pitts, man. We got
yeah.
to do something about this.
Yeah.
They're turning into dog food right now, and I'm hoping that there's a turnaround one of these days for
Yeah.
those tight ends.
Yeah, it has to be, because if you drafted one of those guys, you mostly drafted them in the top 7 rounds. So just the draft capital alone and the tight end landscape being the way it is, it's almost like you're forced to keep starting them. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, there's your studs and duds. Let's go to the waiver wire.
all right. Well, since it was our top story, it makes it to the top of the waiver wire. Jerome Ford, folks, over 100 yards after Nick Chubb left. If he hadn't run out of gas on that big run, he would have had that touchdown on that long run. But he literally ran out. But he's a backup runner, folks. He don't have a stamina yet. But hey, he's only rostered in 24% of CBS, ESPN leagues. So go and check if he's available. Hey, folks, when we go with the listener league, I'm gonna evaluate. I got the number 1 waiver priority in the listener league. I've been patient with it, but hey, there are scenarios, folks, where you don't use all your fab. I would say, okay, I say unload the clips. If you're 0-2, if you're a J.K. Dobbins / Nick Chubb owner and Ford's out there, you got to unload the clips, folks. You need the help right away. But for somebody who's 2-0, somebody who, luckily hadn't been hit with the injury bug, if you have that number 1 waiver priority, you might spend 50% of your fab. That is where you go, because folks, just to give you a preview of what's coming up for the schedule for Nick Chubb, he has this week Tennessee, who, as people know, top 5 run defense.
Next week.
That's next week, Tennessee. 2 weeks from now, week 4, they play Baltimore. Okay, another tough run defense. Just ask Joe Mixon, folks. Week 5, they got a bye week. Come back from the bye week, week 6, they got San Francisco, folks. So,
man,
that is murderer's row. So even if you're 0-2, and I don't see much hope on rising, but hey, you almost got to pick him up because he's a starting running back. Yes, there's those Kareem Hunt truthers out there saying, they could resign Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt, I don't know what he's holding out for, but people hadn't re-signed him for a reason. So I don't think he's coming back. Word out of Cleveland is they like Ford. He looked good against Pittsburgh, and so I think they're just going to go with him for the time being, even though the next 4 weeks could be rough sledding because it's 3 top 5 run defenses with a bye week in the middle. Yours truly, I'm not going to pick him up in the listening league because I'm not going to burn my number 1 waiver priority when luckily, I haven't been bit by the injury bug. So I really don't need Jerome Ford. The guy in our league, we'll go through the listener league, and I can probably, when we go through it, we'll see. We can try and predict who's going to get it in that league.
But
Matt Stafford.
Yeah. Oh, before you get to Matt Stafford, but don't you know, calculator, you can afford not to.
That's true. I can.
Is this a Jonathan Taylor landing spot, you think?
Well, that's another thing on there. A lot, but the Colts are kind of in the cut your nose to spite your face stance with Jonathan Taylor. They're just going to hold. It seems like they're going to hold on to him, and because if they keep. They actually have the power because even though he's on IR, if he comes back and they continue and they put him on the PUP list, they can franchise him again next year. under the rules of the collective bargaining agreement. So that's another thing that say, hey, we got different situations, so we're not going to trade you because we're going to be stubborn about it. Now, hey, I tell you, if Cleveland comes by and dangles a first round draft pick, I think that'll get them going. But a lot of people aren't trading first round draft picks for running backs, even ones as talented as Jonathan Taylor. So, but that is a good point. And I hear Fournette's name out there, but
Mm.
I hear he's washed as well. That a lot of teams aren't really fascinated with what he's been doing in the offseason. Matt Stafford, great numbers against against two and really a good 49er team. But hey, even without Cooper Kupp, Stafford's continued to throw the ball. They're not holding things back and get folks upcoming matchups against the Colts and the Cardinals. And heck, even week 5 against the Eagles, Kirk Cousins showed you can throw against the Eagles if needed. So because of the injuries that the Eagles are sustaining in their secondary. So not only is Stafford a good guy to look at, he's got a favorable schedule coming up. Back to the running back section, folks. On here we talked about Zach Moss. We said if he's back from a broken arm, he is
Yep.
easily back. And sure enough, he was 18 carries, 88 yards, and a score. Unfortunately, he's not going to play Houston every week, so they might not have that game. But hey, you'll take what you can get. Because Baltimore is on deck for Zach Moss, so he might be one of those Najee Harris's. Just try to get volume to get your thing until Jonathan Taylor returns. Roschon Johnson, hey, Chicago made Deontay Foreman he was a healthy scratch, folks. That's how much Roschon Johnson made an impression in week 1, and it was just him and Khalil Herbert. Now. Neither guy did much in the game because Chicago trailed most of the game, but Johnson only was behind Herbert 7-4 in carries, 3-2 in targets. But hey, he averaged 8 yards on his 4 carries, caught both of his targets. I think all 12-point leagues, Roschon Johnson should be a target for people because it's only going to get better going forward. Tyjae Spears, hey. He was after leading Tennessee running backs in snaps, folks. He had more snaps than Derrick Henry, folks. He played a big role in the overtime win over the Chargers. Hey, get this. The rookie carried 8 times, 49 yards, caught both of his targets, 6 yards. But here's the note. He received the first carry in overtime, took it 14 yards to get him into if you can trust a rookie in the big time places, because when you have Tyjae Spears in there, you don't know if they're going to run or throw the ball. Derrick Henry in there, you say, okay, they might try and run the ball, but when Tyjae Spears, they can run it or they can throw it. And that's why I think they had him there in overtime, because they wanted to keep the Chargers guessing. But hey, you said Derrick Henry as a handcuff. I would like Tyjae Spears, but Tyjae Spears he can be standalone guys. Another guy, Tank Dell, he increased role week 2. Noah Brown is on IR. Dell capitalized 7 catches, 72 yards, 10 targets, led the team, which is 21.3% of team total. Dell looked really good in the preseason and could go even higher. And if you look at your screen, Josh Reynolds, he should be available. 10% VAB. That's reasonable. However, the thing that worries me about Josh Reynolds is we've seen it before, and he'll hold value until Jameson Williams does come back from suspension after week 6. Calvin Austin, another guy that is in there due to the fact that Deontay Johnson is still hurt. Upcoming matchup against Vegas could prove nice. Jaden Reed, it's hard to run on the Saints, but you can throw on them. Jaden Reed, he did well again in his debut again. Well, I wouldn't say debut. He kind of broke out against the Falcons, showing that he could score touchdowns. And folks, we talk about tight ends. We talked a little bit about Zach Ertz flying behind the radar. Hey, folks, he was out there. He is the lead guy. We would have thought it was Hollywood, because the reason we thought Hollywood Brown was going to be such a target hog was because Zach Ertz was actually hurt. Ertz was hurt. in the middle of the year, or in the beginning of the year, but he was a surprise active week 1, did well, and now, so for all those Higbee owners, I'll take Ertz over Higbee. I'll take Ertz over a lot of those, Okonwo, the guy for Tennessee that was getting a lot of hype. I would take Ertz over him right now. Hurts over Mayer, the rookie in Vegas. So yeah, those are other guys that you can get. CJ Stroud is an interesting name for the mere fact that Superflex League, super encouraging, high volume. They're going to be playing from behind in lots of games, so expect CJ Stroud to continue throwing the ball. Jordan Love, I think you could say he's a product of the environment, because we saw kind of what happened when the Falcons got used to what he was doing, and they totally shut him down. And pretty much the after that second Jalen Reed touchdown in the fourth quarter, I didn't even see Jordan Love look like the normal force. And I'm telling you right now, not a fan of the Green Bay coaching staff. You can, okay, and I'm going to go on a coaching rant, because these guys get paid too much money. You can't send your kicker out there for a 51-yard field goal and you get a delay a game when you have 3 timeouts on your bench. I don't care if it's the first quarter or not. You have coaches in the box. You have coaches on the sideline. You call a timeout and let your kicker kick a 51-yard field goal. Because what happened? 5 yards, then they punt the ball. Hey, Brooks, what was the final score of that game? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That 3 points would have been enough for them. So yeah, the coaching staff, you get an F on how you manage that game. Not only for that blunder that come back to bite you, but also in the fourth quarter of play calling.
It's such a punch in the gut to dial up a trick play and start the game off with such a high and then to mess it up like that. It's really a momentum. It really hurts. Really a gut punch. So yeah, I'm totally agreeing with you right there.
So, while we're still on wide receivers, another shout out to Tutu Atwell, another Rams wide receiver. Hey, he followed his 119-yard opener, 7 catch, 77 yards against that tough secondary for 49ers. So hey, he's not a guy that won't hurt you. He won't kill you. But folks, he is definitely a guy that's going to take the hit when Cooper Kupp back, because I don't think Cooper Kupp could take some from Puka Nacua, but I think with Puka and Kupp, when they're healthy, Atwell's the guy. But hey, you get Atwell for a couple more games, folks. But yeah, the deep league options. We talked about Barkley. If he misses the game Thursday night, you have Breida out there. Breida is more of a pass catching guy, though that would help you in garbage time. Well, guess what, folks? They're playing the 49ers. I think they'll be playing catch up against the 49ers in that game. So I think Breida is going to actually get you a lot of points through receptions. Because he was proving his weight in that catch-up game against the Cardinals as well. So Breida, one of those deep guys. I also like Craig Reynolds. He's the guy that could be starting for David Montgomery, because a lot of people say, well, Jahmyr Gibbs. Hey, folks, they're not going to go away from the Jahmyr Gibbs script. He's going to get out there. He's going to be kind of like a guy that comes out wide, gets in the backfield every time, because they don't want to have a chance for this guy getting hurt or anything like that, because Jahmyr Gibbs really isn't built for in between the tackles type. That's what Craig Reynolds for. That's what David Montgomery's for. So they're going to kind of use those guys. But hey, if you're in line with it, if I'm not mistaken, Detroit plays Atlanta this week. So
yeah,
I think Craig Reynolds. I think Craig Reynolds could get some run in this game and be able to get a little love because again. They'll split it between Gibbs and Reynolds. But, yeah, if you need some of those dart throws, I like Breida. I like Reynolds. But those are the one. And, of course, I'll reiterate the tight end, because everybody likes tight ends for the he'd be owners. Zach Ertz, if he's available on there. And hey, Hunter Henry, if he's on there, last call, because I guarantee he won't be on the waiver wire this week, because he's definitely Matt Jones's favorite target out there. But a lot of times you're only going to find him in 10-person leagues. You're not going to. I wouldn't see him on the waiver wire in 12-person leagues out there. But if he is, last call, folks, because he was definitely Mac Jones's favorite target. But hey, if you want to go a little bit deeper, Mike Gesicki, the Patriots ran 2 tight end sets that whole game. And folks, they're going to be in a lot of games where it's going to take a lot of they might play catch up a lot, and those tight ends aren't coming off the field.
Yeah, their receiving core is pretty weak, so I don't blame them for putting the 2 tight ends out there. They're probably 2 of their best pass catchers.
And you're right. And their routes per run was deeper than their supposed top wide receiver, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster runs the 5-yard slant, the 3-yard hook, left and right. It's crazy. Hey, Mr. 4-1, Mr. Joe, I remember when Juju was the man when Antonio Brown was taking all that pressure off of him? Juju could actually take it to the house. I hadn't seen Juju take it to the house in a long time, folks. Ever since Antonio Brown left his side. Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry, now Devontae Parker, he was going deep a little bit, but the best pass catchers by far in the Bill Belichick offense. Well, he was dialing up his Aaron Hernandez, Gronk days when he was running those 2 tight end sets, and his 2 best receivers were the tight end.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there it is. That's our notes there for the waiver wire. But now it's time for the show and Mr. 401's favorite segment this week, the Listener League.
Oh, yeah. Listener League review. There it is, folks. Unfortunately, the one Mr. 411, he jumped on the calculator early. He started throwing jabs at me, with his Anthony Richardson deal. And folks, I'm gonna give 411 a pat on the back, because I said after the draft, you do not draft Anthony Richardson if you draft Justin Fields. I stand by it, folks. I'm gonna stand by it to this day. But Mr. 411 was trying to prove me wrong. He started Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson got those 2 early touchdowns and jump. But then we saw what happens when all you do is run as a quarterback, especially as a rookie. These guys, even though he played in the SEC, these guys hit even harder than those SEC defenses. But hey, we'll just go to the quick review in it. Anthony Richardson, like I said, he was on. This was a lot in the first quarter. I mean, a lot of that was in the first quarter. It was crazy. And I mean, Mr. 401 was doing his thing. Bijan Robinson, see, Mr. 401 was throwing jabs and then roundhousing me with Bijan Robinson. I was like, what's going on? Luckily, T. Higgins came to my rescue in the fourth quarter, and Keenan Allen came to my rescue in the fourth quarter as well. So I was able to stay with it. And Rachaad White, hey, I just want to say, whoever had a talk with Rachaad White at that halftime, thank you very much, because that was a different person than I had seen for 6 quarters of the year so far. He was a different person. So, hey, keep that motivational speaker on staff, because we need him, because Rachaad White finally showed up. Our defenses didn't do much, did they, Mr. 411? You thought I could outdo you. You got a 0, and then I posted a -1. I said, what you can do, I can do better. So it was crazy. I
could have dropped I could have just dropped them for the week.
And played I should have done an empty defense. I would have 171. There goes my matchup play of all things. I tried to play the matchup and it didn't work very well. But now, hey, since the show's on the show, we're gonna go. Hey, oh man, was that a back and forth affair, Mr. 401 Brooks?
Man,
LT was. We're gonna look at we got to go in close. It was a close one, but the Brooks, Daniel Jones bailed you out. I couldn't believe
Redemption
it.
Tour.
I mean, when I saw Daniel Jones,
tour,
but you know what? when I saw, like I said, I was running an errand and I got back and I keep it. This may not be a lot money wise, but folks, we love the listener league. So this is one of my top leagues. So I love it. So I'm checking all the matchups, and LT is one of our favorite listeners. We love LT. He comes on the show sometimes. You guys know him. But yeah, he came on, and I mean, because LT was, putting it on him with the McCaffrey, and
Yeah.
Geno Smith was doing his thing in that Detroit game, and I thought who would have the gall to start the Arizona defense, folks?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he thought that, but it was crazy. It was one of those deficiencies where Arizona, in the first half, Arizona had double digits on the defensive side of the ball. And then in the second half, Daniel Jones started bringing the Arizona scoring down while he's just padding the stats. So yeah, and, it was an amazing comeback by Daniel Jones. I just want to say you won't see it very often. But Cleveland, I'm sure you were watching the game, Brooks, because you still needed Cleveland at the end to pull it out, and they got you just enough, because look, it's a narrow win. So Cleveland got you just enough with an interception, fumble recovery, 2 sacks. So
I mean, the Pittsburgh offense. I mean, they scored 2 touchdowns, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Cleveland, the final score was a little misleading, but Pittsburgh had a defensive touchdown. So but yeah, trying to. It was a little slim for me because I've got some injuries piling up. Luckily, I picked up Gus Edwards and he got in the end zone, so that was good. I need Aaron Jones to get back soon. Amari Cooper was a kind of game time decision on the Monday night, so I was afraid to keep him in the lineup.
Yeah.
So I had to take him out, which that cost me a few points. Luckily, Daniel Jones and then Hawkinson again, continuing when tear he's been on ever since he traded to Minnesota, it's just producing. So on the shoulder of those two, I squeaked by.
Oh, and one more thing. We could say LT lost by a toe. And if people know what I mean, they see Olave in his lineup.
Ooh,
and when he scored that touchdown, I thought it was over for Brooks. But then they replay. As soon as they showed the replay, I said, LT's got to be pulling his non-hair out, I was like, man, I'm about to say, I hope he wasn't shaving his head at the time of the forum, because he'd have got a nick after he saw that play, man, because that's just a brutal way to lose. I mean, just to lose by a toe, it's not very fun. Hey, and we've all been there, Mr. 411. We've all been there, done that.
If this was 1986, he would have been okay because they wouldn't have replayed it,
That's right. Back in
whatever year.
Back in the day, instant replay was not available.
We had the old toe heel rule in the Falcons game. We got our touchdown pulled back. He had the toe tap, both feet in, but one of his heels came down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just don't agree with that rule. If you get the toe tap, I feel like that should be a touchdown, but I digress.
But didn't they say the heel came down though? It was the left heel on that.
Well, it was on his toes, so he was on his tippy toes, and both toes hit, and then one of his heels came down out of bounds.
Yeah, and I think that's why they reversed it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, but I hear you. When I look at your bench, you're right. But hey, as long as that Amari situation, folks, I'll tell you right now, I was in that scenario where yours truly makes. Hey, I make mistakes too. I did a Cam Akers, Amari Cooper swap at the last minute, and then by the time I got the news that, like I said, yours truly was out there running an errand, and that's why I don't like Sunday errands. I got back, and Akers was an inactive. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I said, I was going to get 0 from Amari Cooper. No, sir. Adam Schefter, I'm holding you responsible. You saying he was not going to play, he is the reason I lost that game, folks. Well, that, and I had to run the errand, so, but it is what it is.
You got to work that deal at home, man. You got to rework the contract there or something.
Things have to change. But hey, I want to also throw a shout out to another barn by Flight Squad. He's one of our new listener league members this year. He's been a long time listener, but he finally joined the league. He's off to 2-0. And man, was that a fight or what? I mean, two of the 147, 139. Also, Be Like Me. 150 points against Captain Cosmo, two of our longtime contributors as well. And then Carter's Peanuts. This was bittersweet for him. If people remember, I gave him grief. I said, Carter's Peanuts, who knows his history, I've drafted with this guy for almost a decade now. His first 3 picks, wide receiver, never fails. Comes to the listener league, his first pick, Nick Chubb. The one time he deviates from picking a wide receiver with his first pick, he picked Nick Chubb. So, folks, I'm not saying it's a sound strategy, but that's where luck comes into this. And but Carter's Peanuts, we know Carter's Peanuts. He works the waiver wire like no other. But yeah, people are saying if we look at the waiver wire, hey, Mr. 411, you want to take a guess on Okay, I don't know if Curtis is going to use number 2 with league priority because he's only made one move all year. So I don't know if he's listening to the show, but you know who's going to do it, Mr. 411. You got the number 3 waiver priority.
I'm thinking of somebody.
I said, Ford is out there. This is where because I'll tell you, Miss Warren, if you got him, if you want him, you got him. Because I'm telling you, I'm not using number 1 wave priority because I'm the fortunate ones But hey, let's look at your lineup just to help you out. Although, well, actually, you're not too hurt at the running. Well, you could always use another running back, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
I think I need another body out there, and somebody I can depend on the running game. You never know; they might.
Yeah, you're running the wishbone as we speak.
Yeah.
So.
And I was running well with Richardson.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. You ain't a kid. If you don't pick them up, Mr. 4-1, let's see who's number 4 waiver priority. Eric. Hey, well, he's made no moves, so let's go to 5. No moves. So man, I don't know.
Everybody's kind of standing pat. Everybody's kind of standing still. They don't want to step forward
well,
yet.
You know who's going to pick him up? If nobody picks up 4, Carter's Peanut's going to pick him up.
Oh, absolutely.
11. Yeah, we know he's already him and LT. I guarantee you, they already have their waiver claim on Ford, and right now, so LT, you will get him ahead of Carter's Peanuts, but you got to watch out for Mr. 401. He might do the old catfish move, and we know what the catfish move for longtime listeners. We used to have a guy call himself the catfish. He just be that guy that just nips up there and bites
everything up from the bottom.
That's right. Come up from the bottom to eat it. But hey, if we're looking towards next week, if you want to look towards next week, me and the show. That's right.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a good one.
Head to head.
That's right. Hey, another undefeated person it will go down no matter what. Flight Squad and Carter's Peanuts. There's only 4 teams. Another one will go down. Me and the show, and then Flight Squad. Currently, hey, Curtis is champion. He might not have a win, but he's been putting up some points. And then Carter's Peanuts. Oh, look who's Carter Peanuts playing, Mr. 411.
Oh, you already know what time it is.
We know that is a long time rivalry that has yes sir, folks. And Carter's Peanuts will not be at the national fair this week, folks. So he's gonna have to hear it if he loses. If LT stops the undefeated streak of Carter's Peanuts, that will be we are good. Hey, folks, if LT wins this game, we will make sure he is on that show because he will deserve the limelight if he can bring down the undefeated Carter's Peanuts in what is usually the grudge match of grudge match folks. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. Looking forward to the Copier Bowl of the Carter's Peanuts LT. It's like Carter's LT 8, you know. So that's
Exactly.
right.
And there's the copy board, the copy bowl trophy right there. And so
Mhm.
there'll be a lot of bragging rights behind that. It's a long story there, but we'll let LT and Carlos Peanut tell you that
Yeah, well,
story one day.
LT will be on the show again, and we'll definitely can always explain how that works. So, but that's our listener league review, Mister 411. Hey, I appreciate
Yes.
the good game. Always enjoy playing against you, and now I get to turn my attention to the battle of the last two champions. Brooks won this league 2 years ago. I won it last year,
Yes.
so we'll see how it goes. Looking forward
Oh
to it,
yeah.
Brooks.
It should be a good one.
Big week, highlight week. Had this on
Oh
my
yeah.
calendar for a while.
All
The
right, the
Brooks
moment.
Redemption Tour continues.
Daniel Jones and Redemption Tour. And
Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
man, shout out to Fave Rocks. Big shout out there to Fave Rocks. He says, should I trade White for Zay
No,
Flowers? Was White
no.
and Zay Flowers for T Higgins? Oh,
I would not trade. And the reason I say that, Odell Beckham hurt Jr.'s hurt. Zay Flowers will get a high target share while he's hurt. Todd Monken he loves his wide receivers, so he will continue to get work. Rashad White, we saw what he did in the second half of that game. He showed what he's capable of. Higgins, I am not a fan. Even I'm a Higgins owner, folks. You saw it. He bailed me out against Mister 411 this year. But
yeah.
as long as Joe Burrow is with that continue, just ask the Jamar Chase owners. You don't think Jamar Chase is going to start quietly grumbling about his lack of touches going forward? They're going to have to force feed Jamar Chase a little bit more, and that, of course, that's going to take away from T Higgins. So no, I would not do that trade, Mr. 401. If anything, even if you can't start Zay Flowers, I think he's going to be one of those guys in the second half that really is going to come forward. And I think we have another
Absolutely.
question, Mr. 401, from one of our listeners, Windy City. Did he not send a question our way?
Oh, he sure did. We can go ahead and get that out there. Get the producers back on that one
Yeah.
because I think that was from what we heard from in our production meeting. This was an excellent question as well. And major shout out to Fave Rocks. We appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Make sure you share it to everybody you know in the world and get them to do the same thing for us. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. This is a PPR league, 12-person league. Pick two. Kyron Williams, this is it's going to be tough. An automatic start though, in my opinion, is you would think it's Ramondre Stevenson, but folks, the Rams have Cincinnati. I like Kyron Williams
Yeah, I
more than
agree.
Ramondre Stevenson, and I'll tell you why. Ramondre Stevenson is going against the Jets. But hold on, let's look at what Zay Flowers is going against. Zay Flowers against Indy. Oh man. Even against the Jets, I'm going with the two running backs, Mr. 4-1. And the reason I'm going with Kyrie Williams is because he can also catch the ball as well. He catches the ball out of the backfield. And because it's a PPR league, Stevenson, he can get you garbage touches. Now, I don't think he's going to have a lot of garbage yards against the Jets. But guess what? No matter what the game script, Stevenson's going to get his touches. If people saw Ezekiel Elliott, folks, when they try to do a toss play with Ezekiel Elliott, that linebacker got him before he could even get to the corner.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott does not have the boosters anymore, folks. But yeah, so if I had the choice, and listen, I'm one of the bigger Zay Flower fans out there, but if I can have a guy that Kyrie Williams has impressed me. Akers was a inactive, a healthy scratch,
Yeah.
and they're word on the street is they're trying to trade him. Now, here's the deal: watch the active reports, and this is the one thing I would do: put Ramondre Stevenson in your running back spot because I'm sure he's thinking about the flex spot. So put Stevenson in your running back slot. If Akers is active, then that's when I'm not going to take chances with what you don't know what Sean McVay is going to do. Then you can throw Zay Flowers in the flex. So I don't have the game times on there, but that's my thought. You got to see if Akers is inactive, Kyrie Williams, it's all the work. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're going against Cincinnati. That could turn into a shootout.
Yeah, so they're the Rams
Yeah.
are the Monday night game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Monday night.
Okay. Well, there you go. So that's kind of
Ugh.
that
Yeah.
doubleheader.
You don't want to be sitting there Monday night.
Yeah. Well,
Wishing.
yeah, if you want, yeah, you might. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to change.
Ravens both play at 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're taking chances, but hey, there's too many things that can happen. I'm going for the bird in the hand, folks. The two in the bush would be Kyrie Williams, but now I'm going to change my stance. I'll go with Zay Flowers because it's a Monday night game and because I don't know what Sean McVay is going to do. Kyrie Williams could hurt you this week, but you can't take the chance that all of a sudden Akers is going to get active and can take some of that away from Kyrie Williams. So go with Zay Flowers in your flex and Ramondre Stevenson in the running back slot.
And there it is. All right. Well, it's almost time for the Wheel of Names calculator.
Oh yes, sir. If the producers can pull that up, we'll get the wheel of names going for our mini draft.
Producers, where are you?
All right.
Oh, they back from break. Okay, they got it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Producers. I appreciate that. Yeah, they were so enthralled with our our questions that they had to get to the wheel. So here's the wheel. Last week I won. I'll just show. I'll bring that up just a second. The last week results were tallied up. What hurt LT? Nick Chubb. It hurt a lot of people, but it hurt LT, and I thought he was going to do well. Mr. 401, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't. We still don't know. I had a pretty much even, but Josh Allen was one of the top running back or quarterbacks.
Kyle Pitts, man.
And yeah, I was about to say because the show he would have won it if you take that 3.5.
Oh my goodness.
My Falcons fandom got the best of me there.
Yeah, the Kelsey touchdown won the game for me because other than that, Kelsey wasn't targeted much, but he did get that one touchdown. So, and I was able to pick Kelsey with one of my last picks.
I remember. Yeah, we remember. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, so we're gonna go to the wheel of names, folks. Let me see. Right here, folks. There we go. So first up, and yes, this week we don't have a guest, so we're going to do the computer with the default rankings. So I do have a default rankings that I will be picking for the computer. My first time.
Oh, look at there.
Yeah, but this could be
first time ever.
Well, this year. But I've won the last 2 weeks without it, so it could be, like I said, it could be a curse. So so we'll see. And then second.
Come on.
Oh, looks like
it's the show.
Yes, sir. Show. All right.
Computer. Come on now.
And hey, I was number 3 last time, Mr. 4-1, so you can make it work. Oh, say you'll be number 3. I think 3 could be the sweet spot, Mr. 411.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah. 4-1. And what we call it AI. That's what we call it.
Commodore 64.
Yeah. So and in tradition, still got to run it.
You got to spin it.
Yeah.
AI is taking over the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is, folks. All right. So now we're going to go to the mini draft. So I got first pick. And there's a lot of interesting matchups, but I think I'm going to get a guy who I just because I know he won't. I don't think he'll come back to me. And because I think he will come back to me. So I'm not going to take that guy. Hey, you can't go wrong with Justin Jefferson.
No,
He's
you
pretty
can't.
much uh, there. And since I got first pick over, I'm just going to get it and roll with it and get my get my 20 to 30 points from the get go. So I got Justin Jefferson. It's on you. The show. Everything's wide open.
I'm gonna ride this high. I'm gonna take Bijan Robinson again with the
And
Lions.
that's who I was
Oh,
debating. That's what but I knew he wasn't going to come back to me. But I have a secondary pick that I think that I'm pretty sure will come back to me. John. All right. All right. I hope you won't mind me misspelling it. I'll put the I in there. Okay. So now Bijan's off the board. Mr. 411.
all right.
Running back.
Okay.
I mean, everything's open to you.
I feel good about picking up Christian McCaffrey.
You've been riding him all year, and he's
Yeah.
been doing it. He's been doing it for you. So you can't really complain about what he's been doing.
I really
Okay,
can't.
that's right. So AI, the top scorer of everybody is actually Mahomes. So that's who he's going to get. We're going to give him Mahomes. Going to give him Mahomes, and then the second highest score because you took McCaffrey. And then actually Tyreek Hill is for AI. So he's got Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. His AI does not care about stacks, folks. So that's why he didn't go the other way. He wanted the highest available was Tyreek Hill at that time. All right, 411.
All right.
You're up.
Back to
You
me.
need everybody but a running back.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and get this wide receiver. I don't care. I'm just gonna do it anyway. I'm going with the Puka man.
Oh, Puka. Okay. Okay. Mr. 41, I do want to add that I had a feeling Puka would have made it back to you, but I don't know what the show's going to do. but I wasn't going to choose Puka.
I have no idea. The show picking
Well,
be, you know, he,
I couldn't do Puka because I had a wide receiver. So, but yeah,
yeah.
all you had is one person to worry about. But I like it. I like the outside of the box thinking. I love outside the box thinking. All right, the
And
show.
calculator. And we got a pick
What's that?
down at, or we got a question down the bottom there, by UT Music. While the show was working on his picks, we can multitask there. UT Music. He said he just traded Mostart, Love, and Najee for Garrett Wilson, Fields, and Gainwell. What are your thoughts, Cal?
Uh, well, Fields is an upgrade I would love fantasy wise. Garrett Wilson, I think he's buying low on Garrett Wilson. Well, I like it in the guy who traded Mustard and Nige, he must have good enough running backs where he wanted an upgraded. So if the object was to upgrade your receiver, I think you came out good on that because and the reason I like Gainwell is he's one of those sneaky guys. He's a guy that can be in there for a bye week filler and so forth. And again, you're trading Mustard at his absolute peak right now because Wilson will be coming back pretty soon. Devon A. Chain's going to get more and more touches going on. So I think, and we saw Jalen Warren actually efficiency produce better than Nige. So I think you're trading guys at kind of like a high value and getting Garrett Wilson at his lowest value because a lot of people are trying to trade Garrett Wilson because of the the Zach Wilson experiment not going. Hey, Garrett Wilson is still a very talented receiver, so he can. And all it takes is one touch, and we saw what he took one touch to 70 yards in the house. So I like that trade, especially if you're stacked at running back. All right,
I'm gonna
so
go.
back to
I'm gonna go with T.J. Hawkinson. My
Hawkinson.
tight end.
Hey, you're good because he was definitely the guy I was going to pick with my next pick because that would. Oh man, let's see. So I got back-to-back picks. Look at my sheet over here. And I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. I'm going to get the quarterback because you guys will pick another quarterback before I can pick. So I got to go with Hurts. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. And I'm going to go tight end because so both of you guys will get a tight end before me too. I'll just take my chance with running back. I got to go with Kelsey. I mean, I got to go with Kelsey. He's still the
Thanks,
best
calculator.
tight end in my opinion. You're welcome. So, okay, the show. You need a quarterback and running back. I'm sorry, quarterback and wide receiver. You need quarterback and wide receiver.
Solid performance last week. He draws the Colts this week, so I'm looking at the favorable matchup. Give me Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
And thank you, UT Music, for your question.
Yes, absolutely. We love the questions. Keep them coming, folks. All right, 411.
All right, what I got left, calculator?
You need a quarterback and a tight end. Look at what AI has. AI has a quarterback and a wide receiver. So that should tell you who you should pick. What position should you pick, Mr. 411, if you're playing the game?
I need to go ahead and lock up my tight end slot here.
Correct, because AI is going to pick a tight. I mean, he's got to pick a tight end. So yes, because you're going to be able to get your quarterback because AI already has a quarterback. So you are correct. That is the logic. Good job.
Yeah, man, but this tight end position, man, is so shaky right now. Uh, you know, did I what's the word on the street about with Andrews? What's going on there?
He's currently again. If you put it this way, if you get Andrews and he's hurt, you will get Isaiah Likely as the backup. So
Okay, I can deal with that. So let me go Andrews.
Andrews. Okay. The next tight end on the board is Kittle. Actually, per our standings, Kittle is the top tight end left. Eckler is the top running back, even though he's questionable because the word is on the street that Eckler is they said it was only been one game absence, but now Staley's coming out. I think he's playing games, folks. I think Staley's playing, saying, this could be, there's no timetable, is what he says. Staley's full of it. If Eckler's going, I think Eckler's going to play. You're 0-2. You need a win. It's going to be a shootout at Minnesota. We saw what Philadelphia could do with the running game against Minnesota. So I think AI is going to take his chances with Eckler. All right, Mr. 4-1, you need a quarterback.
All right, need a quarterback. Oh man, trying to sift through some of these matchups. I want a quarterback that's going to give you some touchdowns this week. And I'm gonna tell you what, you said I was outside the box, and I'm gonna stay outside the box. I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone on this one. I'm taking Cousins in Minnesota.
Like in that shootout, huh? Could be. Hey, we saw what Cousins did in that shootout in Philly.
Yeah, I'll take 3 touchdowns instead of 4. I'll be good with that.
And we know Cousins, non-prime time, at home. Yeah, he's going to be chucking the ball because that Minnesota defense is not good. So they'll be in lots of shootouts. All right, the show, you need a wide receiver.
I do. I'm thinking about a lot of options here. Again, I'm going to look at the matchup. Cowboys, Cardinals. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb here.
That's a good pick.
Oh, good. Yeah, very good.
And he said the magic words matchup. And this is the reason I didn't pick running back is because I thought he would fall to me. I love the matchup at Arizona indoors. Cowboys offensive line, Tony Pollard, the man. I mean, I love being able to get Pollard at this point. And see, and I was gonna either way. I was gonna even if AI would have taken Pollard, if they would have had Pollard higher, I was gonna take Eckler because I love that matchup as well. So that's why I just waited on the running back position. I was going to take Bijan, but I like Pollard and Eckler so much, I said I'll give Brooks Bijan Robinson, because he was actually looking, and hey, can't go wrong with Justin Jefferson on your team, right?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, any finishing touches or comments on the minute draft before we wrap it up for today?
No, I look forward to it. Daily fantasy owners, these are guys that we try to give you. Puka, you can. From what I understand, he's still reasonably priced as well. So if 401 feels comfortable enough taking them, you should be comfortable enough to save a little salary. And until, but DraftKings, just like Vegas, they adjust their odds very quickly. So
you may have to hop over you may have to do like that game, remember game Qbert, you may have to hop over to Atwell. If they
hey, why Cooper Kupp still out there? And hey, folks, I'm telling you, Joshua Kelly, he's still very affordable. And yes, I think Eckler's going to come back, but we saw what DeAndre Swift could do against Minnesota. Heck, even Rashard Penny's had a couple good runs. Minnesota they know how to rush the passer, but they are not very good against the run. And hey, we saw what Joshua Kelly and Eckler did week 1 against the Dolphins. They ran the ball. They ran the ball some more. And guess what? They ran the ball some more. And I think that's what they're going to try and do against Minnesota.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that wraps up today's episode. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Type in Mr. MisterForone. And guess what? Before we roll out of here, you just know Larry has to, he has to throw that late jab. He's got to throw that extra jab while you're falling. While you falling to the mat, he got to hit you one more time. And so Larry Stone Cold has a message for you to show. He says, "Good game."
No. It was a good game. It was a good game. Like I said, and LT lost by a toe. So,
yeah, incredible. But yes, we definitely thank everybody for tuning in. Larry Stone Cold, you got to come on back next week because you got to talk about the Copier Bowl. So we got to have you on here. So make sure your calendar's clear for that. We know you're a busy guy, but come on and join us. All right. Well, for the show, for Calculator, I am Mr. 411. We thank everybody for watching today. We thank all the comments, all the messages, everything that we received today. We definitely appreciate it. And we will see you all down the line. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Calculator. Thank you. Thank you, show. Because damn good dogs, 8 o'clock tonight. Make sure you tune in on 411 Sports World Network on YouTube. Just type in 411 Sports World. We'll see you at Damn Good Dogs, because we got a game to cover and we got some questions that need to be answered.
Oh,
and the show,
some lively discussion.
Yes, it will, because I know the show and Bone will have a lot to say. All right. Well, everybody have a good one. We'll see you.
See ya.